Welcome back to English Podcast Avenue. I'm your host, Fatima.
And I'm Muhammad. So glad you're tuning in with us today, wherever you are in the world.
Today we have a topic that is very close to both of our hearts, especially this time of year. We're talking about Ramadan and self-discipline.
Yes, and this is such a rich topic because Ramadan isn't just about not eating or drinking during the day. There's so much more going on beneath the surface, spiritually, mentally, and even physically.
Exactly. So, Muhammad, let's just start from the very beginning for any listeners who might not be familiar. What is Ramadan and why does it matter?
Great question. So, Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar. It's the month in which Muslims all over the world fast, meaning they abstain from food, drink, and certain other behaviors from dawn until sunset. But beyond the physical act of fasting, it's really considered the holiest month of the year for Muslims. It's a time for reflection, prayer, gratitude, and community.
And I love that you mentioned community because that's one of the things I personally feel most during Ramadan, that sense of togetherness. Everyone is going through the same experience at the same time. It creates this beautiful collective energy.
Absolutely. You walk into a room and you just know everyone around you is fasting too. There's an unspoken understanding, a kind of solidarity.
Now, let's get into the self-discipline angle, because I think that's where things get really interesting. Muhammad, in your opinion, what is the connection between fasting and self-discipline?
So I think fasting is one of the purest exercises in self-discipline that exists. Think about it. Every single morning, before the sun even rises, you make a conscious decision. You commit to an entire day of restraint. And then, throughout the day, no matter how hungry you get, no matter how thirsty you feel, no matter what temptations come your way, you hold firm.
And it's not just food and water either, right? There's this whole concept of controlling your tongue, your anger, your thoughts.
Yes, that's actually one of the most important parts. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that if someone doesn't give up lying and acting on lies during Ramadan, then God has no need of them giving up food and drink. So it makes it very clear the fast is about your entire character, not just your stomach.
That really puts it into perspective. It's almost like Ramadan is a full character audit. You're not just checking, did I eat today? You're asking yourself, was I patient today? Was I kind? Was I honest?
Exactly. And here's what I find fascinating from a psychological perspective. When we talk about self-discipline in everyday life, whether it's going to the gym, studying for an exam, saving money, the biggest challenge people face is delaying gratification. And that is literally what fasting trains you to do every single day for 30 days straight.
Oh, that's such a good point. Delayed gratification. You know, there's actually a famous psychological study called the marshmallow test, where children were given one marshmallow and told that if they waited, they'd get two. And the children who were able to wait and resist eating the marshmallow right away tended to do better in life in many areas: academics, relationships, career.
And that's exactly what Ramadan builds, that muscle, that ability to say, I can wait. I can endure. The reward is coming, but for now, I will exercise control.
I love the idea of self-discipline as a muscle, because just like a physical muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets. And Ramadan is like an intensive 1-month training camp for your willpower.
A spiritual gym, if you will.
A spiritual gym. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about some of the practical ways that Ramadan actually builds self-discipline. What are some habits that people develop during this month?
Well, the most obvious one is rising up early. You have to wake up before dawn to eat the pre-dawn meal called suhoor. And for a lot of people, especially in the modern world where we stay up late scrolling on our phones, waking up early is a real challenge. But Ramadan essentially forces you to restructure your entire sleep schedule and your routine.
And once you start waking up early, you notice how much more productive those early morning hours are. There's something incredibly calm and focused about the world before sunrise. I personally feel like I get more done in those quiet morning hours than at any other time of day.
Completely agree. And then there's the discipline of managing your time. When you're fasting, you become hyper-aware of every hour. You plan your day differently. You prioritize, you don't have the luxury of mindless snacking or long lunch breaks, so your schedule actually becomes more intentional.
That's a really underrated benefit. And there's also the discipline of what I'd call emotional regulation, because hunger and thirst can make people irritable. And yet, during Ramadan, there's this expectation that you maintain your composure. You respond to anger with patience. You respond to provocation with peace.
And that is genuinely hard. I'll be honest, there are days during Ramadan when you're hungry, you're tired, maybe someone says something that frustrates you, and your old version of you would react quickly. But Ramadan teaches you to pause, to breathe, to choose your response deliberately rather than react automatically.
That pause, that space between a trigger and a response, that is where true self-discipline lives. And Ramadan trains you to find that space even under difficult conditions.
Now, I want to bring up something that people don't always talk about, which is what happens after Ramadan. Because ideally, the self-discipline you build during the month shouldn't just evaporate once Eid arrives, right?
Right, and this is something I think about a lot. There's actually a beautiful hadith, a saying, where the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that the best deeds are those that are consistent, even if they are small. So the goal of Ramadan isn't just to be an amazing person for 30 days and then go back to your old habits.
It's meant to be a reset, a reboot. You use the month to build new habits, to break bad ones, and then you carry those lessons forward into the rest of your year.
Think of it like a software update. Ramadan is when you download the new version of yourself, and then after Eid, you're meant to run that updated version.
I love a good tech analogy. Okay, so to our listeners who might not be Muslim but are still interested in the concept of self-discipline that Ramadan teaches, what takeaways would you offer them?
Such a great question. I think the first lesson is the power of ritual. Ramadan has very specific rituals: the pre-dawn meal, the breaking of the fast at sunset, the extra prayers at night. And research in behavioral science consistently shows that rituals help with self-regulation. Having a structured routine removes the need for constant decision-making, which preserves your mental energy.
And the second lesson I'd offer is the importance of community and accountability. One reason Ramadan is so powerful is because you're not doing it alone. Your family is fasting, your neighbors are fasting, your friends are fasting. That collective experience creates natural accountability. And for those trying to build any kind of discipline in life, surrounding yourself with people who share your goals is one of the most powerful things you can do.
And the third lesson, and this is perhaps the deepest one, is the idea of finding meaning in your struggle. When a Muslim fasts, it's not just a diet, it's an act of worship. It has deep spiritual meaning. And when your struggle has meaning, it becomes bearable. It becomes even beautiful. Viktor Frankl, the famous psychologist and Holocaust survivor, wrote that those who have a why can endure almost any how. Ramadan gives Muslims a very clear why.
That is so powerful, Fatima. And it connects back to something we said earlier, that Ramadan is a holistic experience. It trains the body through fasting, the mind through reflection, and the soul through prayer and connection to God. It's a complete system of self-development.
Beautifully said. And I think that's what makes it unlike any other form of self-discipline practice. It's not just a productivity hack or a fitness challenge. It's a whole life transformation. And it comes from a place of love and gratitude, not just willpower.
So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to ask you, Fatima, what is your personal biggest takeaway from Ramadan every year? The one thing that stays with you the longest?
I think it's gratitude. Ramadan always reminds me of how much I take for granted. The simple act of drinking a glass of water after a long day of fasting, that moment of breaking your fast with water is genuinely one of the most beautiful moments I experience all year. It makes you realize that so many things we consider ordinary are actually extraordinary gifts.
Mine is patience. Every Ramadan, I become more aware of how impatient I am in daily life and how much room I have to grow. Fasting slows me down in the best way possible. It teaches me that I'm capable of far more than I think, that my desires and urges don't have to control me, that I am bigger than my impulses.
That is a lesson worth carrying all year long.
It really is. All right, to all our listeners, whether you're observing Ramadan this year or not, we hope this conversation gave you something to think about discipline, about meaning, about community, and about the extraordinary things that happen when we challenge ourselves with intention.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us on English Podcast Avenue. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with someone you think would benefit, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what Ramadan means to you or what your own self-discipline journey looks like.
Until next time, stay curious, stay consistent, and stay kind.
From English Podcast Avenue, Ramadan Kareem to everyone observing, and peace and blessings to all. We'll see you next time.